Do you ever want to dive deeper into the Bible, but you just don't know where to begin or struggle to feel like you even have the time? When you read the Bible, do you get frustrated because you know there is so much more in there? You just have no clue how to get it out. Or maybe you just want to know the Bible better and you're looking for any resource to help. Well, then this is the podcast for you. Welcome to the Context and Color of the Bible podcast. We are two sisters. I'm Erica.
And I'm Veronica.
We love to study the Bible and help others understand it better. When it comes to our own study of Scripture, we have found that in bringing back the context of Scripture, it adds so much to our understanding. It actually adds color to the black and white pages of the text.
So, have you considered any more what your final words will be on your deathbed someday?
I think I just spit into my microphone. I apologize for that noise.
I would appreciate that.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm going to reminisce like Moses does.
And I could tell everyone you're stuck here. Grab your popcorn, get comfy because you're here with me.
We got some stories to tell.
We've got time.
But what's interesting is Moses is, in a way, it's not reminiscing. Moses is telling stories to, I kind of feel like, this is my own personal, not what I got on my commentaries. I feel like Moses is trying to build an argument for, here's why you better listen to me.
Oh, that makes sense.
I know who you are and I know what you've done. And not in a, I'm going to shame you, but in a, you need to know I've walked this with all of you and your parents and potentially your grandparents. I'm sure there was some grandparents in there. You know, I know what we've done, where we've been, and I'm going to tell you some stories to highlight and add some oomph to why I'm telling you this, because I'm also looking forward going, don't repeat the past. You've learned a lot of lessons with God. He's been very faithful, because you're going to constantly see Moses kind of saying, here's what you did, and here's what God did. Here's what you did, so here's what God did. Kind of that give and take. And so in a way, to me, it's Moses going, I know what I'm talking about. I have wisdom here and experience. So I want you to listen. I mean, it is, we said it last week, that shaking of listen to me, get this now. This is so vital, so important, because truthfully, as we get into those curses, they're horrific.
They are. They're nasty.
I mean, and it's one of those things where it's where you're trying to tell your child, don't play with fire. It's not worth it. But sometimes there's those children who are stubborn enough, and you go, you're going to learn the hard way. I can already tell. There's, that stubborn child that you go, I can already tell.
I have one of those that you're like, ooh.
This is going to take a harder lesson for you to learn.
Yeah.
And I just feel the agony of Moses going, I don't want you to suffer. I don't want you to learn the hard way.
So this is a passionate, desperate.
To me, it is a passionate, heavy, desperate, emotion-filled, we can do this.
Listener, you didn't expect those words, did you? From the book of Deuteronomy. But that's what happens when you bring context.
Yes.
You get color.
Yes.
It comes to life.
So with that, this week, we're going to start with actually diving into the book. But first, I do need to say, clearly, this is not all me. Like I mentioned last week, I did that 6-week class with JUC. I also used the book Deuteronomy by J.G. McConville. I think is how you say it. I used also The Rational Bible by Dennis Prager and the Jewish Publication Society Deuteronomy commentary. And if you could see my notes,
they're color-coded
again, like I did with Leviticus, but I was so much smarter this time. The colors actually go with the cover of the book. Because last time I just picked random colors and I was constantly going, I don't know who this is. Now I know. Dr. Parker gets a dark pink. And the other commentaries are blue, red, and one's got gold. So.
Yeah, it's interesting because you do so much better acknowledging who you read. But I'm like, yeah, but I listened to a sermon 5 years ago and remember this one comment and I'm adding it in.
Well, and there are times like that. But truthfully, I've been sitting in these commentaries now
for months.
Yeah. So I'm not going to reference them every time. I mean, if you could see my notes, it's all color coded.
So if you have a question, she will more than
Yes.
likely be able to answer you who said
where
that.
I got it. Yes.
Yep.
But
She's
I'm
very
not going to constantly go so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so.
Right.
So you'll think it's me. It's not. But with that, I'm going to have Erica read verses 1, 2, and 3.
Truthfully, none of this is us. If people realize just
Yeah.
the amount of books, just read.
Yeah.
Read commentaries.
Yeah.
Listen to people smarter, wiser
Yep.
than you. That's really
That's
all
a
we
really
do.
good point.
That's really all we do. None of this is
We're
us.
just regurgitating what we read.
Yes. But okay, what am I reading?
Verses 1 through 3.
Okay, I have to say this is the first time I could not use my Bible.
Remember her tiny little Bible I always complain
Oh,
about?
Yeah, I'm using my sister's phone because my eyes were not working. So I feel old, but that's all right. Not as old as Moses.
That's right.
I'm not there.
So you can't complain.
Nope. These are the words that Moses spoke to all Israel beyond the Jordan in the wilderness in the Arabah opposite Suf, between Paran and Tophel, Laban, Hazor, Dizahab. It is 11 days' journey from Horeb by the way of Mount Seir to Kadesh Barnea. In the 40th year, on the first day of the 11th month, Moses spoke to the people of Israel according to all that the Lord had given him in commandment to them. That's verse 3.
Okay, perfect. So what I just want to point out, and we kind of talked about this last week, but this is really setting the stage. I mean, and this would be the narrator we talked about last week. These are the words. It's telling you where Moses was. So go grab your a map. I don't know if your Bible has maps in it, or an atlas, or just Google. Find out where. Obviously, he's on the other side of the Jordan. They're not in the land yet, but look at where all those cities are. In a way, you're kind of setting the stage, getting an idea, and I have no idea if those are luscious areas or if they're desert areas.
I know we went there. I'm trying to remember 20 years ago. I don't think it was desert. I think it was nice.
Okay. But what you do get is you get a place. Here's where they're standing. Mm-hmm. Here's where they are. And then you get that quiet little reminder. It's 11 days from Horeb, Mount Sinai.
And it took us 40 years, people. 40 years to walk.
And it's not because we were sightseeing and taking our time. So you just get that idea of Moses going, okay. But on the other hand, they knew, okay, because of your disobedience, it's going to be 40 years of wandering.
Right.
So you go, in a way of just Moses going, we made it.
Yeah, that's true. A big sigh of relief.
So many emotions for Moses. But this is just setting the stage of what's going on. And again, like Dr. Parker told, and I said it last week, it's like being in that doorway. You're transitioning, you're not wandering anymore, but you're not homesteading yet. Or you're at the airport, you're heading to your destination. And in a way, I would say their destination is eventual, under King David, having that king who reunites politically and spiritually. So you think that's a long time. There's a lot. Judges was how many?
Potentially 400. We don't know.
How many years? So you go, in a way, this transition time.
Oh, I guess Solomon says it's 420, I think.
Does he?
Yeah.
And then to go, okay, from we've had the tabernacle that whole time to finally building the temple, that permanent residence of just, this is not a quick.
God doesn't do quick. Mm-mm. I wish he did. I'm not going to lie. I wish he did quick. He doesn't. Mm-hmm. He's in it for the long haul.
Mm-hmm. And he makes the people go through. It's not even like, hey, walk into the land and the people drop dead and it's just yours.
Nope.
So you've got all of Joshua going, okay, you got to work for this. You got to get some skin in the game. All right, so that's just kind of setting the stage. Now I would like you to read verses 4 through 11.
I have to turn your phone back on. 4 through 11. After he, Moses, had defeated Sihon, the king of Amorites, who lived in Heshbon, and Og, the king of Bashan, who lived in Ashtaroth and in Edrei, beyond the Jordan, in the land of Moab, Moses undertook to explain this law, saying, "The Lord our God has said to us in Horeb, you have stayed long enough at this mountain. Turn and take your journey. Go to the hill country of the Amorites, to all their neighbors in the Arabah, in the hill country, in the lowland, in the Negev, in the seacoast, the land of the Canaanites, Lebanon, as far as the great river Euphrates. See, I have set the land before you. Go in, take possession of the land that the Lord swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, to give to them and to their offspring after them. At that time I said to you, I am not able to bear you by myself. The Lord your God has multiplied you, and behold, you are today as numerous as the stars of heaven. May the Lord, the God of your fathers, make you 1,000 times as many as you are, and bless you as he has promised you.
Perfect. Stop there. Did anything just in the last week's podcast or what we've talked about today jump out at you? Putting her on the spot.
You are, yeah. Okay, again, why he calls it Horeb.
Okay.
Turn, take your journey. This is the land I swore to your fathers.
Okay.
I'm not able to bear you. The Lord multiplied you. It's almost like he forgets where he is in a moment. And he's like, may the Lord God bless you and do everything he's promised to you. Like, that just seems exciting to me.
That works. But hopefully, just as you read it, you go, oh, hopefully there's some stories all of a sudden clicking in your mind and going, oh, I do know this story.
Yeah, they weren't able to go in because of spies. That's what I know.
Right. But that's what you hopefully, as you're reading through, some things start to trigger. Oh, I know this story. I read it before.
Okay.
That idea. And even then, verse 5, in the land of Moab. Where does Moab come from?
Oh, I can't think of his name.
Lot.
Lot.
So hopefully as you start to read, there's so much more going on that if you just were to jump into Deuteronomy, you're missing out on all these backstories.
Well, yeah, it would be like starting in like the chapter number 4 of a book.
Right. And you go, I don't know anything. But so we have right away different battles. After he defeated, you see that. And what I wish is my Bible would tell me, like, cross references.
Oh.
So that's one thing I do want to do one day is sit down in my Bible and add the cross reference. Where's this story actually taking place? So any of you want to start that, feel free to put it on our Facebook page, and we could all maybe just help each other out. But you've got beyond the Jordan in the land of Moab. Well, there's a whole story there of where did the Moabites come from? And looking forward then, who is a Moabite?
Oh, Ruth. So you're constantly going back and forth. But verse 7, turn and take this journey, literally means turn, like a leaving behind and setting the face to a new destination. It's very much, this is the moment in time where the past is going to be behind and we are heading this direction. Dr. Parker said it's almost like run like the wind with this. Because what we're going to see now is this area is going to be called the land. It's not going to be referred to as the promised land. So, and then verse 8, the idea of take possession implies a certain right to it by way of an inheritance. But it's clearly a right that's contingent that this is a gift from God. Because ultimately we know Israel, Isaiah 49:6, is to be a light to the nations. But before you can be a light to the nations, guess what you need to do? Obey.
Yeah, but you
on
need
the
to build a society.
Oh, right.
How can you be a light unless
you're a nation?
Unless you're a nation and you're a society. So you can't even, Israel, the reason you're getting these laws is not just to help you govern yourselves, but your laws have a purpose. Just like when you're parenting your children, you don't come up with rules just to come up with rules. Sometimes it's kind of fun. But normally your rules have a purpose. I'm trying to teach my children how to be wise with their time. I'm giving curfews, partly because I want to go to sleep. Don't tell my children.
I know. As your kids get older, you're like, oh, this one's for me.
I know. When I have a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old, it's like, oh, I'd love to give you a 10 o'clock curfew. Because I want to go to bed. But ultimately, it's to teach my children. Why do I give them a curfew? Partly for me so I can go to sleep, but partly because you need to learn to go to bed at a decent hour.
Right.
When you have a job someday, you need to be responsible. When you have a curfew like that, it also instills, oh, my boss says be here at this time.
I need to be there at that time.
To be. So all these rules we're actually giving our children aren't just for their safety. There's definitely, don't play in the street, safety. But those boundaries and those rules we have also teach them how to be responsible adults who contribute in a positive way to society. And so Israel's going to get these laws, not just because God goes, here, let me tell you how to run a society, but the ultimate purpose is to be a light to the nations. But you're going to find out when Israel engages in immoral behavior, they get dispossessed. They get to lose the land. What did Dr. Parker say? Landedness is a blessing. Landlessness is part of the curse and the punishment.
Right.
And so as you read, also, let's see, verse 10, Moses, I love that Moses says, verse 9, you pointed this out, I can't bear you myself. I mean, it's just Moses is like, there's so many of you.
Sometimes I feel that with my kids, and there's only 5. And I'm like, I can't do this.
I always tell my kids I'm tapping out. Yes. Mom is tapping out for the night.
I'm done. You're all on your own. Good luck.
But yet, look what Moses says in the next verse.
But then he asks God to multiply them even more.
And how big? And right now, look what he compares them to. You today already what?
Numerous as the stars in the heavens.
Okay, so what does that remind you of?
The covenant with Abraham.
Yes,
and the promise.
what God told Abraham how many centuries before.
Right.
So you have these connections back, these hooks back to Genesis.
Right.
And so you go, okay, Moses is, they're already as numerous as the stars of the heavens. That's insane. And Moses go, bless them more, make them bigger. Which in a way you have Moses constantly advocating for them. He never gives up that. Erica's got that amazing podcast on grace and favor. I think it's roughly episode 138.
Oh, you are good.
Because I had to look at it recently for notes. But you have Moses constantly advocating, even here at the end of his life, he's still doing that.
What a leader. That is just amazing.
Mm-hmm. And then, well, interesting you bring up what a leader. Will you read verse 13?
Choose for your tribes wise, understanding, and experienced men, and I will appoint them as your heads.
So what kind of leaders should you be looking for?
Wise, understanding, and experienced.
Yes.
Which to me says older men.
Yeah.
Because, and there can definitely be wise men who are younger. I am not discounting that at all. But experienced, there is something to age. Mm-hmm. And experience.
Mm-hmm. Just having lived life and walked through some trials. Yep. But what I love here is Moses is talking. If you go back to Exodus, when this all came down, was it Moses' idea to find these men to help govern the people?
It was his father-in-law.
It was so you get already, Moses is retelling this story from his perspective. And he's not necessarily worrying about, I got to get all my details right. Well, let me make sure you know my father-in-law, Jethro, gave me this idea. He's as wordy as he is and as long-winded as he is, he's still summarizing. So in a way, I would also, where I like the idea of going and finding what the verses are in the other books, it would also help you just see, okay,
how did Moses state it versus how he wrote it in that book? And then you can go, well, why the difference? Here what's his point here versus what's his point there?
Because sometimes you get people who go, oh, there's contradictions. It's not. It's not. Because truthfully, when I tell stories, I don't tell the story the exact same way.
Right.
And truthfully, if you do tell a story the exact same way,
then they think you're lying.
Because it's probably very rehearsed and you've got all your talking points. But so if you go, oh, I read this and I don't remember it exactly like that, it's because we are getting Moses's
memory.
Yes.
And memories are tricky things. But this is, it's still legit. That's the thing.
Yes.
And he has a point for talking here.
Yeah. And one of my commentaries did say all those 3 traits all have concern having to do with wisdom. There's a link somehow in those words back to wisdom.
Well, wise is an obvious.
Thank you.
Obviously. just going to point that one out right there.
Fine. What were the other words?
Well, understanding. We did a podcast that hasn't been released on the Holy Spirit.
Oh, yeah.
And the Holy Spirit brings wisdom.
I knew that was somewhere in the back of my head.
Insight and understanding. That's definitely connected. And I wonder, experienced, what Hebrew word that is. But
yeah, I don't know. But now you've got everyone going, wait, there's a podcast that hasn't been released. That's future goals.
Yep.
All right. Now, will you read verses 16 and 17, please?
And I charged your judges at that time, hear the cases between your brothers and judge righteously between a man and his brother or the alien who is with him. You shall not be partial in judgment. You shall hear the small and the great alike. You shall not be intimidated by anyone, for the judgment is God's. In the case that is too hard for you, you shall bring it to me and I will hear it.
So I'm bringing this up essentially because I just want to point out these two verses are kind of setting the stage for some later chapters. You're going to constantly see Moses talking about the Israelite and the non-Israelite, whether it's a foreigner or a slave or whatever word he uses. But what you have is, as we look at this and we go, okay, this is supposed to teach us about God. God is just. That means in that there is no double standard. You could easily go, well, God, you picked the Jews. You picked the Israelites. They have your special favor. They always get what they want. They're the favorite one and we're not. And that's not it. God, if God's telling Moses and Moses is telling his experienced men, don't show favoritism, then they're getting that from God. They're reflecting that from God. And you see even verse 17, it's literally do not recognize the face of anyone in judgment. Don't be partial. Oh, I know you and I like you. Or, oh, I know you and I don't like you. You want judges. You want men who are judging to be impartial. Treat everyone fairly. Treat everyone according to what is right. Because ultimately, you, Israel, are if you're going back to you're reflecting your light to the nations, you're reflecting God. And you see, I mean, you can even see that in the New Testament then. James brings that up. I feel like Paul brings that up. There is no favoritism.
Rich or poor, color doesn't matter.
Man or woman.
Right. So justice is justice.
Right. So you have some of this, you can see foundations being laid that will then play out later on. All right. So would you go read verses 31 to 33, please?
I'm scrolling 31. And in the wilderness where you have seen how the Lord your God carried you as a man carries his son, all the way that you went until you came to this place. Yet in spite of this word, you did not believe the Lord your God, who went before you in the way to seek you out a place to pitch your tents in fire by night and in cloud by day, to show you by what way you should go.
So right away, we know
such a picture.
It is. And we know from Leviticus, you don't have images, graven images of God. And we know from Genesis, we often see God represented by a picture, though, like fire. So what picture do we get here?
Well, here we get a father carrying his son.
Yes.
Like, that is such a sweet... There's a passage, it's Hosea 11, and it depends on the translation, but it talks about how God's like, Israel, I carried you and I bent down and fed you like cheek to cheek. Like, it's just the picture of a husband or a father bringing the baby up and just cheek to cheek with his baby. It's such a gentle, sweet. And that's the picture I get here, like a father just carrying his little boy
through the wilderness for 40 years.
Yeah. It's like, that's a big boy by the end.
But on the other hand, you go, have you ever considered that while they were wandering?
Yeah.
That's what God pictured. I'm carrying you through this time. And because the very next verse is,
yet you didn't believe.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, to do that, to go, okay, I'm carrying my child, knowing at the end you're going to revolt, you're going to rebel. Might be tempted to drop you.
Just thinking that I'm going to drop you.
But just that picture of God carrying them in spite of knowing they didn't believe, they continue not to believe. And sadly, God knows the future of you're going to be exiled. Hello, Daniel and Esther. Those are podcasts we've done.
Yeah.
But also, I love the idea of verse 33. Who went before you to seek out a place to pitch your tents? And that God, I always pictured it as God going in front of them just as fire, leading them. But the commentary has put this more as, I got to find it again in my notes. God going through searching out resting places. God going ahead. I'm not just leading you, but I'm looking for the best spot for you. I'm looking for, maybe not best doesn't always feel right because you go, sometimes they didn't have what they wanted, but I'm looking for the location where you need to be because you're going to learn to trust me in this place. You know, I never pictured this. To me is God's more active.
Right.
The picture I get from Exodus is he's just leading. They're just following. This is more God is.
It makes me think of a shepherd. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for a place where my sheep can rest. Mm-hmm. And here's a good place.
Mm-hmm. So I just really, I liked those two pictures there that I don't think we often see.
It's a very sweet, gentle.
Intimate?
Yes, intimate's a good word.
That I don't feel like I don't get that out of Exodus. Mm-hmm. And I've never considered that with Deuteronomy. Right. So I wanted to point that out. Yeah. All right, last few verses. Will you read 35 through 39?
Not one of these men of this evil generation shall see the good land that I swore to give to your fathers, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh. He shall see it, and to him and to his children I will give the land on which he has trodden, because he has wholly followed the Lord. Even with me the Lord was angry on your account, and said, you also shall not go in there. Joshua the son of Nun, who stands before you, he shall enter. Encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it. And as for your little ones, who you said would become a prey, and your children who today have no knowledge of good or evil, they shall go in there. And to them I will give it, and they shall possess it.
So what I love here is Moses. You're going to need it for one more verse. Don't put my phone down. What I love is Moses is setting up Joshua and Caleb to succeed him. Because it would be very easy to go, you're not Moses. Who picked you? I mean, even Moses had that at the beginning in Exodus. Who picked you to be ruler and judge over us? Well, eventually Moses could go, God did.
Right.
You're questioning that? Moses could easily have just said, okay, it's Joshua and Caleb, and not really made a big deal. But I feel like here Moses is reminding the people, here's why these two are leading.
And here's why they get to go in, even though no one else of your generation did. Mm-hmm.
Don't forget. And truthfully, those people that Moses is talking to right now weren't even there.
No.
Or old enough to be counted as responsible. Everyone under the age of 20 survived. But just again, Moses is constantly going, here's the backstory. Here's what you need to know. Joshua and Caleb get this because look at what Caleb did. He has wholly followed the Lord. I mean, can you imagine getting to the end of your life and having somebody go, hey, follow Erica. Up until now, she's wholly followed the Lord. She's going to lead you.
Like that just sounds...
I know.
Wow.
Because they're roughly, I'm going to guess, like 40 years younger than...
So they're 80.
Yeah.
They're 80 is what that means.
Okay.
Wow.
And and that Joshua who stands before you, encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit the land. I mean, Joshua, you're going to succeed. You know, follow Joshua. I mean, Moses, okay, that's what Moses wants. In a way, you kind of go, okay, if Moses could just go, okay, I'm taking mine, now I'm taking Joshua. Just follow him, do what he says, you'll be good. You know, but as we know with the Judges story, you had Joshua, and we start Judges with Caleb. Mm-hmm. And where does it go from there?
There's no leader after that.
Mm-mm. And so we're setting that up. So very last verse, if you would read verse 4. Oh, but I do want to point out 39. Their concern, their parents' concern.
Yeah.
What was their worry?
That their children would go in and die.
Yeah. And what's the reality?
They'll go in and inherit it.
Yes. Of just you were worrying about something that's not your reality. And just kind of that they're all worried about this. And that's not what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Have that faith. God is going to take care of you.
And my kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. And now verse 45.
And you returned and wept before the Lord, but the Lord did not listen to your voice or give ear to you.
Okay. Which is kind of a strange one for me to pick, but because we're going to see a word here in this verse that we're going to see over and over and over and over again. Here, listen. Both those words in Hebrew, Shema, which ultimately also means obey. And so in a way, if you want to circle if you want to circle words in this book, this is a key word. Hear. I would say to me, the two big takeaway words are hear or obey or listen. all the same Hebrew word, and remember. That's, which is essentially Moses's whole thing. Remember and obey.
Because remembering can help you obey.
Yes. And when you're obeying, you're remembering why you're obeying. Because you're trying to avoid or you're trying to get all these blessings.
Right.
So that is Deuteronomy chapter 1.
Wow. That was a lot.
It was.
But I don't know what I was expecting, but that was really good. Wow.
I know. So hopefully that's got everyone excited to keep going through Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
Ideally, there might be some chapters where I get 2 chapters together in one.
Yeah.
Some of them have a lot of similar feels. So, but with that, we would love to hear what you're thinking as you're looking ahead to Deuteronomy. If you have questions, go ahead and send those to us because we do have a way of throwing them in live real time. Erica doesn't know about it yet, but I do. But we can address those questions if I haven't gotten to it yet in the podcast. If it's something I've already covered in the podcast, I can still go back and add that in. So thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.